Morning, boys and girls. Happy Monday, and I'm back for your second lesson. I hope you had a great spring break and that you had a chance to do some things with your family. I know it's been a little rough being home and not being able to come to school. So I have made this second video for you that I think you're going to have fun working with. I will be disappearing on the screen so that you will have a full screen to look at and see what we're doing. So the first lesson that we're going to be doing today is the shared reading. So you will need your red shared reading workbook that we sent home. You just have 2 more stories, and I need you to get that and a pencil, maybe a colored pencil if you have it, some crayons, and definitely a yellow crayon or a highlighter to highlight the sight words just like we do in class. And so this will be a great time to pause the video and get those materials and then turn to the story, The Yellow Mittens. Okay? So here is the Yellow Mittens, and this we are going to follow just like we do in the classroom, or we've done in the classroom all year. So we're going to begin with first circling the end marks and the punctuation. So if you can take your pencil, and I'm going to take my pencil. I have a fancy pencil here. And we're going to circle the period. And remember, a period means what? It means to stop. So circle both of the periods. And then come over to the second page with me. And you're going to circle this period. And then we have a comma, which means we pause, and another comma. And then at the very end is an exclamation point, which means that we show strong emotion. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put my pencil away for now. Oops, I kind of crossed that out. Sorry about that, friends. And we're going to come back now and begin reading. So we're going to go ahead and just go through and do a my turn, your turn. And we're starting with the title. So I will read and then you can just repeat after me. A Yellow Mitten. Vic and Dad were building a snowman. Vic took off one mitten to wipe his face. He didn't realize he dropped the mitten. In spring, when the snow melted, Vic found his mitten. Okay, so this story is about a dad building a snowman with his son, Vic. So I want you to think for just a moment. Look at the picture. Can you name the season? What season is this? If you guessed winter, that is correct, because we see snow on the ground, and it says up here that Vic and his dad were building a snowman. So the next question I have for you to think about is, how did Vic lose his mitten? If we go back up here and we see that Vic took off one mitten to wipe his face, so we can conclude or infer that he dropped his mitten in the snow. If we look down here at the bottom of the page, we can see his mitten is in the snow. Now, because it was snowing and the snow covered up his mitten, he doesn't find his mitten until later. What happens to the snow during the spring? Think back of our story of the ice hotel. We know that in the spring, the snow begins to melt. So like in our story of Piglet, who lost his valentines in the ice, once the ice melted, he found his valentines. So in our story here, that's what happened with Vic. He was able to find his mitten because in the spring, the snow melted. So the first thing that we're going to do before we do the bottom part is I want us to look at the key events. The first key event is going to be found at the beginning of the story. Go ahead and get your pencils and bring your pencils over. Oops, sorry about that. Bring your pencil over. I'm still learning how to use this. All right, so we're going to read the very first sentence. It says, Vic and Dad were building a snowman. So that is the first event. So I want you to take your pencil and underline this first event and put a number 1 at the end. Then the second event is Vic took off one mitten to wipe his face. So that's the second thing that happened. So we're going to put a number 2 at the end of the sentence. So what do you think event number 3 will be? If you guessed this sentence, he didn't realize he dropped the mitten, that would be correct. If not, go ahead and underline it now and put a number 3. We have one more event, and that's what happened at the end of the story when he finally found his mitten. So we're going to underline this last sentence. In spring, when the snow melted, Vic found his mitten. And that is event number 4. So you may go ahead and number that now. Okay? All right. So now we're going to take a quick peek at the bottom of the page. It says circle the words that begin with V. V is the letter that you will be learning and working on with our phonics lesson right after this one. So we're going to go up to the top to the beginning of our story, and I want you to find the word Vic. Vic begins with V. Take your pencil and circle it.
Mitten.
Oops. So we're going to circle the word Vic because it begins with V. Right underneath is Vic again. Go ahead and circle that. And then over on the second page, we have Vic again. So we have, whoops.
Face.
Sorry about that. Down here by V, we can go ahead and write the number 4. I'm sorry, 3, because we found V 3 times. Okay, now go ahead and put your pencils away, and we're going to switch to our yellow crayon so that we can highlight our sight words. So we see at the bottom it says underline the word and. So we're just going to start at the top, and we're going to use our yellow crayon to highlight a. And then the next sight word is and. See if you can find what the next one is. It looks like is the next one. Go ahead and highlight a. And then we have one. Oops. And over on the second page, we have he. And he written again. You could go ahead and highlight that with your yellow crayon. And the word the. And the. And that should do it. So it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So hopefully that is correct. I'm going to put my highlighter away, get my pencil, and come down here and write 9 for the sight words. And now we're going to go ahead and write those sight words on the line like we've always done for practice. We're going to write a, and then and. Oops. It's very hard for me to write with this pencil, so I'm hoping that your writing is a lot neater. The word one, O-N-E. And then on the second page we have he. And the. Perfect. And that concludes our skills for today. Let's go ahead and we will, whoops, I'm sorry. I accidentally turned the page. Let's go back. Oops. I am so sorry, boys and girls. I accidentally turned the page and I can't seem to get it back. So I will just go to here. There we are. Okay, I found it. A little bit of technical difficulties. So that ends our story of a yellow mitten. Feel free to go through and read it again a couple of times. And if you want, you can go ahead and draw a picture here of a snowman and maybe even put a mitten on the ground. Okay, so that ends our lesson. I'm going to say a quick goodbye, and it was very good to be able to talk to all of you again and to be able to do this special shared reading lesson. Tomorrow we will be working on our first big book story titled One Snowy Day. So I hope you had fun, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.